Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please, if you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment and share. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. So today I'm going to be showing you how I made this beautiful wide leg palazzo pants with elastic band. And without further ado, let's dive right into the video. So the first thing you're going to go ahead to do is to fold your fabric into two. So after folding your fabric into two, you're going to go ahead to divide your hips divided by 4. In my case, that's 10 inches, okay, plus I added extra 7 inches, which made it 17 inches, okay. You can go ahead to use 18 inches or so, that's totally fine, but I'm using 17 inches. So it depends on how wide you want it to be, okay. So now after doing this, I'm just going to go ahead to mark a straight line which will serve as my starting point. So now this is me marking the straight line. So it's on this line we'll be starting our measurement. But because we'll be using a band of 2 inches, so the 2 inches will be placed on that line with you. Okay, so as you can see, my 2 inches is placed on that line. Then I'll take my hips measurement, which is 10 inches, and I'll take my crotch measurement, which is 12 inches. So after taking both measurements, I'm just going to go ahead to draw a straight line. So after drawing a straight line, I will divide my hips by 4, which is 10 inches. Then I will add additional 4 inches, which will make it 14 inches. So I'm just going to mark 14 inches on my hips and on my crouch measurement and also on my waist measurement. So, and I'm trying to draw a straight line. So now I'm going to extend my crouch by 3 inches, okay. Then I mark 1 inches on the 45-degree angle, then curve my line. So you can use your armhole curve to do that, okay. Just extend on the crouch by 3 inches, then connect, okay. So now still placing it on that 2 inches, okay. I'll take my length, the length of my pant. I'm using 44 inches, and because of 1 inch to aim it, so I'll be marking 45 inches. Okay. After marking my 45 inches, I'm just going to go ahead to draw a straight line. So now for me, I went ahead to subtract what I had in my crouch line, okay. Just measure what you have on your crouch line. Then I subtracted 2 from what I had in my crotch line. So that was the measurement I took on the hem line. But you can still go ahead to use the same measurement you had on your crotch on the hem line. It's still going to give you a beautiful look. But because I just want it to be a little bit slimmer on the lower part, just a little, so I just went ahead. I came in by 1 inch here and I came in by 1 inch here. Basically, I subtracted 2 inches from what I had on the crouch line, okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead to connect my line. So I'm just going to connect it all the way to the crouch part. Then also I'm going to do that for the other side. So I'm just going to connect it to the crouch side. So that's it basically for the front of the pant. So now that we are done doing this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut out my front piece. So after cutting out the front piece, I'm going to go ahead to drop the back. Make sure it is on fold, okay. For the back, make sure it is on fold. And you know the back is always wider than the front, and you know when you folded the front, it was a total of 18 inches. So now for the back, at least you will need at least 21 inches on fold, because there's going to be an extension on the crouch, 21 to 22 inches depending on your size. But for me, I'm using 21 inches on fold, and I'm just going to go ahead to place the front piece. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to come up at this point by 2 inches, then come up on the sides also by that same 2 inches. So I'm coming out on the sides by 2 inches all the way to the crotch. So I'm just marking that 2 inches all the way to the hem line. So it depends on your size. You can extend it by 3 inches on the crouch also, okay, instead of the 2 inches, depending on your size. So but you have to go up. So now you connect it to your waist, okay. So after doing that, just go ahead to cut it. So now that we are doing this, we already have the front piece and we have the back piece. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to cut out the pocket of this clothes. So for the pocket, I'm going to be marking about 8 inches. You can mark up to 9 inches, okay. I'm marking about 9 inches because of the allowance also. So 8 to 9 inches is fine. Then I'm just going to go ahead to place my hand on top so as to get a nice curve. Then I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out. So now we need about 4 of this piece. You know, the first one we had was 2 because on fold we need for both sides. So now I'm just going to go ahead to do the same thing again, so we can have a total of 4, which is serve for both the right pocket and the left hand pocket. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out also. Then after doing this, I'm going to go ahead to sew my pants, but before that, on my waistline by the side, I'll come downward by 2 inches, okay, because that's where my pockets will be placed. So I'm going to mark 2 inches. Then after marking the 2 inches, I went ahead to notch that 2 inches part. So it's just advisable for you to do that so it is well placed and balanced. So that's the point I'll be placing my pocket. Basically, that's where my pocket will be starting from for both the front and the back. So that's it. So now I'm going to go ahead to join the front and back, but first I'll sew up this part by half of an inch and all this other part by half of an inch. So I'm going to take to my sewing machine to sew it up by half of an inch for the front and also the back by half of an inch. So now after sewing it up by half of an inch, this is what we have for the front. Now you take the pocket we drafted and place it on that 2 inches point. So place it and place it on the other side. So after properly placing it, you go ahead to sew up the pocket by half of an inch. So you sew it up by half of an inch and half of an inch on the other side. So now after doing this, also I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing for the back. So you also place the pockets for the back. So this is me trying to show you what I'm talking about. This is the back piece. Place the pocket also for the back and for the left and the right side. Then go ahead to sew it up by half of an inch on both sides. So this is what we have after sewing up the pocket. So now just place the front and back piece on top of each other. Then take your pin to pin it all the way to the hem line. Make sure it is properly aligned and properly placed. So just take your pin and keep pinning it down. So just watch what I'm doing. Then you sew it up by half of an inch all through. So also pin these points. Make sure the pockets are properly aligned. So we are just sewing everything up by half of an inch. Okay. Also, we'll do this for the center, okay? Sew it up by half of an inch. So now this is what we have after sewing up. So now we'll do that for the center. Make sure they are properly aligned. The joint parts are properly aligned. Pin it down, okay? Pin it down also all the way down. Then sew it up by half of an inch, okay? So I forgot to mention, if you're a bigger person, please you can extend your crouch up to 13 to 14 inches, okay? Well, I'm of the smaller size, that's why I use 12 inch for my crouch, okay? So it depends on your size. So now I just went ahead to pin it down, then I'm going to go ahead to sew it up by 1/2 inch. So now I made a rope which we'll be using. So this is how I joined the rope. Just watch closely. Fold this side, fold this other part, then refold it again. Okay, just you fold both sides, then refold. So I'm just showing you again. You fold this point like so, then fold this other part like so, then refold together. So that's why I'll be getting, that's how I'll be getting my rope, because I'm going to pass a rope. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain. So now after doing this, I'm going to go ahead to measure what I have round my waist altogether. So whatever you have round your waist, that's what you'll be using to cut your band for the length. So for the band on fold, I measured 2.5 inches, 2 inches for the band, and 1/2 inch to join it together. So on fold, you are going to measure 2.5 on fold, and for the length, it's going to be the total length you measured round your waist for your pants earlier. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead to attach it to my waist. Make sure the joining, like starting from, I'm starting from the back, okay, because the joining will be at the back. So you're going to sew it up by 1/2 inch all round. You can go ahead to pin it down. So sew it up by 1/2 inch all round. Okay, so now I already took it to the sewing machine, and this is what we have. Then I also went ahead to fold it over again, then sewed it up. So on the back, I left a little bit of space which will be passing our elastic through. So there's this small space I left where we're passing our elastic through. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is on the front part, I'm going to mark the midpoint. Okay, the midpoint of the front piece. Okay, so on both sides, I'm going to come out by half of an inch. So the reason why I'm doing this is because that's where I want my rope to pass through. Okay, so I'm marking 1/2 inch on both sides. So after finally doing this, then I can go ahead to insert my elastic. So you'll be using an elastic of about 2 inches wide. Okay, so I'm just passing my elastic all the way. Okay, so usually your elastic depends on your waist size. If your waist size is 28, you can decide to use 22 for the elastic. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead to join the elastic, like secure the elastic on my sewing machine. So now after securing that, I'm going to go ahead to secure my elastic band to avoid it moving. Okay, just look at what I'm going to do. So on the upper part, I'm going to sew. Make sure when you're sewing, stretch it. So I sewed it up by 1/2 inch on the upper part, and I did the same thing on the lower part, both on the upper and the lower of the band. So while doing this, you have to properly stretch your elastic while doing that. Okay, so I'm just showing you what I meant by that. So after doing this, I just went ahead to pass my rope, and we have this. Please, if you enjoyed watching this video, subscribe, like, and comment. See you in the next one. Bye.